Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. Let me use a normal voice there. Yeah, let's see. It's the end of a day. Second video. Let's do a special selection. One of you should tell me what I need to listen to. This one comes at us from Michael. Hi Bryan. I'd like you to check out the song Duality by the band Defacement. Might have been Slipknot. You never know. At least I think their song's called Duality. It's been a long time since I... Anyways, be wary. This is a 16-minute behemoth of dissonant death metal that takes you through multiple levels of hell, only to finish with a cathartic outro. Good luck! I swear. Y'all with these comments, dude. Cracks me up every time. This song is literally going to blacken your soul. Have fun, guy. Oh, jeez. All right, let's dive into this. 16 minutes of dissonant death metal. I can't say I'm looking forward to this, but as usual, open mind, open heart. Defacement, what do you got for me? Not taking any time to ease me into this, just right into the deep end. Okay. You sure this is death metal? I mean, I'm not the expert, but this feels a lot closer to black metal to me. Maybe there's a distinct nuance I'm missing? Very interesting drum work, though. Quite impressive. Are the airplane sounds in the background the vocals? There is no way. Oh, maybe not. Those are definitely vocals. Oh, what was that then? I think that was the hemiola, a 3 against 2 polyrhythm. What? It's fast, so maybe I'm miscounting it, but I think that symbol is doing 9 tuplets. Nine hits in a 4-4. The guitar tones are very swirly. Interesting phasery effect on them. Also, I am worried about the ending. People's idea of catharsis isn't usually my idea of catharsis, so we'll see what happens when we get there. I do like the chords here. I'm sorry, what? So we're still in 4-4, but just a wicked temporal shift there. I wonder what tempo we're in. So this right here is about 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you were feeling it at that, 240. Just noise. Yeah. Oh, just no progression here, just drone. Okay. Yeah. me a second to find that beat. The snare is so infrequent. And without that, there really isn't a sense. I mean, you got the bass kicks, but they're quiet. The guitars are this fuzz. Another bonkers temporal shift. Also a shift to 3. No, that's 8. 6 and 8 alternating. Okay. Just really trying to throw me off. I feel like the longer this goes on, the less depthy it is, and the more blackened it is. Like, this is just tremolo. It's noise. It's atmosphere. We had riffs at the beginning, and maybe that's what I missed. So the beginning was pretty depthy, but this is blackened. Very cool. Cymbal work though. The toms, the snare. The drummer's quite impressive. Jazzy space metal? What? No. I'm gonna need a long nap after this. That scream in the background is pretty high-pitched. As the drummer putting ghost notes in my death doom? Okay. This is definitely a bit of brightness. Have a choir-esque hauntingness on the outskirts. Sounds like a ghost choir. Coming off of that track, or actually in the middle of the track, I had mentioned I'm a little worried that what I find to be cathartic isn't going to be what the suggester found to be cathartic, or maybe even possibly the band. Yeah, that's kind of true. I don't find much of the ending there to be cathartic. I don't find catharsis or release in that. It is a little lighter. It is a little less intense, but coming down from a 10 to a 9.1, it's not going to do it for me. It still feels really tense and claustrophobic, and the mixing is still really muddy, and it's still a massive dark tone in general. We have these big almost bell-like sounds going off, and there is a lessening of attacks from the instruments, but it's still a pretty weighty ending. I was hoping for the weight to be removed from my shoulders, not for them to take off the lightest weight from the top of this massive stack of weights. Like, don't you feel relieved now? No, dude. Not really. But that's the beauty of art. It is subjective. Everyone's going to get something different out of it. For me, though, I think I'm going to have to go listen to something else after this to find my catharsis. Ashniko released her album for this year, like Friday or something. Maybe I'll go check that out. Some nice ear candy pop music is going to be how I calm down from this. Oh, man. All right. About this song. I don't have a lot of profound things to say about it. It is a lot of dissonant, noisy ideas. I have a tough time hearing how a lot of it works together, given that there's just such a flurry of sounds coming at me all the time. Dude, I am clammy. That song made me kind of... It's weird how music can do that, right? Like, this environment, it's no different than when I recorded the themed video just a little bit ago. And yet, I didn't get a little sweaty listening to that. This one, I didn't even move around to as much. The music, I think, created this physical response in me. I will say, though, I was very uncomfortable throughout a lot of it, and it stems from what I was talking about too, and that this is incredibly noisy. There's a lot of sound thrust at me. It makes me uneasy. It makes me nervous. It's just not a pleasant sound to my ears at all. And it's constant. We do not alleviate this weight at all. Like I mentioned, the ending, there's some lightness added, some weight removed, but it's not like we shift to acoustic instruments. It's not like we've, create a more hi-fi, open-aired production to it. We don't bring in any lighter timbres. It's still the electric guitars here. We don't have anything warmer or richer. It's still these very cold, distorted guitars. It is still, in my experience, just as heavy at the end as it is anywhere else in this track. It is an oppressive song from start to finish with varying amounts of weight and grit and noise. Sometimes we're going to get that variance through harmonic ideas, more dissonant versus less dissonant ideas, but we also have it in layering with just sheer amount of sounds. We have the vocals, which as far as I can tell, just kind of create drone most of the time. It's a very airy sound, almost as if the core vocal, the actual harsh vocals being created, are run through 50 effects. And what we get on the other side sounds more like a ghastly gasp. Why would I even say that? It's true. It's just a funny set of words there. More than it does human speech or even human growling. It's just sort of airy wispiness by the time it's done being processed and enters into the song. If there are words to this track, the lyrics are totally indistinguishable to the ear. This is going to be one of the songs where you look at the lyrics and you're like, yeah, I guess he said that, because no one could hear what he was really saying. Whatever they end up writing must be the truth. There's no way to verify it against the song. It's just that far distorted and altered. It's just noise. Now, I will say, though, there is one silver lining in here. No, let me stick on the noise and aggressiveness. Then we'll touch the silver lining. We'll stick on this larger topic. If at any point you get comfortable with this song, you get into a groove, you begin to vibe with the atmosphere, they make sure you don't get to do that for very long. The atmosphere is in constant flux, as well with the tempo and the time signature always changing and moving and sharp right turns. You can't anticipate anything on here. You think you're getting into the song and it throws you a loop. There's no way to anticipate that. Now you're in a loop and now you're facing somewhere else and now you got to relearn what the song's doing. It might be a bit less oppressive on a subsequent listen from this regard, because after you familiarize yourself with the track, the oppressiveness of the almost seemingly random elements here, at least on a first time listen, you'll become more familiar with the twists and turns of this forest. You won't get lost in it as easily. So that can improve through time, through repeat listens. But on this first time, it's just sharp left turn after sharp left turn. And somehow, after making 4 sharp left turns, we're not going in the same direction we were. This is non-Euclidean space here. Nothing makes sense in the world of defacement. And it is wild. Harmonically, we can shift from one layer of tension to something else even more tense and more dissonant, to something that feels like we alleviate that a little bit, to having some semblance of harmony and melody, a sick riff before diving right back into tremolo picking, creating droney sounds. There's just no way to follow along with it. And anytime that you finally get a gist of it, it throws you off. And if it isn't harmonic, it's temporal. All of the time signature changes in here. I mean, how many times did I say, oh, that's a new time signature, it's 3 this time, or it's 6, or it's alternating 6 and 8 and stuff like that, or back to 4/4. It refuses to allow you to learn its cadence. Even at times when we stick to a time signature, the rhythmic pulse of usually the drums is going to change within that. Yeah, we were doing 3/4 where we emphasize 1 and 3, and now we're going to emphasize 2. Now we're just going to emphasize 1. Now we're going to emphasize 1 and 2 on this bar, and then 3 on this bar, and then 1 and 3 on that bar. And that's because of the silver lining here, which is the drummer. The drummer is pretty sick. I think that might be an understatement for this track. Amazing drum work here. The polyrhythmic concepts, the melodic drumming in places, the raw aggression in others. This drummer can do so much. And it all feels so natural to them too. It really is impressive how at the beginning I clocked him as just, they're a metal drummer. They have the endurance and the aggression for constant blast beats, for constant, 16th note or alternating bass and snare or something. The oppressive stuff. And yeah, they did that for several minutes. It's impressive, right? I don't want to downplay that. If you lock into that idea and just be a really good aggressive metal drummer, that still takes a lot of chops and a lot of endurance to do that for a 16-minute song, but also like an entire set. You go do a live show, you got 40 minutes of music like this. That's crazy, dude. There's a lot of dedication and practice that goes into it. It is a skill in and of itself. But then it also starts busting out these wild melodic drum patterns. To me, this was the silver lining. This was a pretty gnarly song from the vocal and guitar perspective, from the harmonic perspective. But listening to the drummer, probably about 9 times across this track, blow my mind with some sort of drum fill or drum pattern, or bringing in something rather complex, just absolutely dancing around the entire kit, ensuring that every part of it is being hit at least once a bar, making sure the cymbals never stop moving. Some of the intricate cymbal work, the hi-hat work in particular, was impressive. It was a neat surprise within all of this for the drummer to be as technically proficient as they were and to work it into the music. It never diminishes any of the aggression and rawness despite the technical aspects. It always feels nuanced but aggressive, heavy-handed. It always matches what's going on too. There was that weird space rock metal jazz thing going on. It was like 30 seconds long, but I enjoyed that because it's one of those things that hits your ear and your brain says, I don't know how to process this, dude, because I've never heard anything like this in my life. And that's a neat feeling. So, you know, I gotta appreciate that from them. That was a short-lived moment, but I enjoyed that part. Not so much the metal stuff sitting under it, although that was a big aspect of it, but yeah, the guitar stuff was really neat there. The solo. I don't think I have anything else to add to this. I don't get this track aside from loud, noisy, dissonant, this is what hell sounds like kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, they pull that off really well. But I don't have some deeper understanding of what they were trying to say and what the song says to me. It's just noise. Let me hit some lyrics and see what's going on there. Are there lyrics to this song? I heard vocal work. I wasn't sure at first, but I came to the conclusion that what I heard was harsh vocals, growls, and fries run through a lot of effects. But just because the voice is making sound doesn't mean there's lyrics. Here's the thing. Genius doesn't have this band at all on their website. And looking at most other websites where I find my lyrics, they're not listed either. Spotify says they only have 2,000 monthly listeners. They're a bit on the smaller side. But without fail, Metal Archives has lyrics for music when no one else does, as long as it's metal. And this is metal. So I go over there and check. They've got the band. They've got the album. They don't have any lyrics. If Metal Archives doesn't have the lyrics, it makes me think that there aren't any. There's vocal work, but no lyrics. However, it's not 100%. Metal Archives could just be missing them. They also don't put them on their own Bandcamp page. That's not completely uncommon for metal bands in general, but certainly metal bands like this where the vocals are basically indistinguishable anyways. So my gut says it's probably no lyrics, just vocal work. But regardless, I don't have any lyrics to look at here. So I guess we're just going to wrap this up. I mean, Duality. I didn't hear any Duality in this. This is like very one note. There is nuance within this one thing they do, but nothing that to me really felt like a schism, an opposite of a framing of two. But also, self-admittedly, I don't get this track. So me saying I didn't hear a theme of Duality, yeah, that makes sense, dude. I didn't hear any themes in this. I'm curious to other people, though. These are, of course, my thoughts on Defacement's Duality. What did you think of this? Did you enjoy it? Is there anything that stood out to you? Do you have an opinion or a take, a read, a perspective on this track? I'm all ears for it, because You know, this is one of those cases where I'm not really putting much out into the conversation. I'm going to get a lot out of the conversation though. So if anyone has a read on what this song is trying to do or trying to say, like I said, I'm all ears. I want to be part of that conversation, but I'm not talking too much this time around. I'm just listening. Put that stuff down in the comments. Above that, in the description box, got a link for Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, so much more. Above that, if you could like, subscribe, and ring the bell, I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. It just dawned on me that yesterday we did some early over, which is really aggressive black metal. And then we did this today. I kind of hope that's all the dissonant black metal stuff for the week. Hopefully things treat me a little more kindly as we wrap this week up. Jokes aside, remember to be critical, not cynical of the music you listen to. And have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.